Welcome back. Next on our list, we are going to talk about the difference between the setup function and the draw function. So to do that, I'm just going to cancel out all these shapes so I can have an empty background. And how you can do that is I am just going to drag my mouse over all of these, and I'm going to press Command slash, like forward slash. And that's going to cancel out your lines of code without having to erase them. Otherwise, what you can also do is put 2 forward slashes at the beginning of a line, and it can cancel out a code, so it can skip over it. So we haven't really talked about what these so-called functions are. You'll probably see, first things first, is that they are written a little differently. So instead of commands where, it has parentheses and it ends with a semicolon, functions have these curly brackets that signify their beginning and end. A function would contain a set of either statements or commands. So in this case, fill, stroke weight, create canvas background, those are all commands. You can't write a command outside of a function. So if I move this line of code, this background line, outside of setup and outside of draw, what that's going to give me is these error messages in the console here that says, background is not defined in the current scope, etc. The bare minimum for a p5.js sketch to run is it would need these two functions, the setup function and the draw function. When you hit play or run here, what happens is the sketch starts and setup would run once, and then it would move over to the draw function where anything written in the draw function would loop. And it would loop an infinite amount of times, or at least just many, many times, continuously until you press stop. Let's talk about this. Let's look at this background, right? Remember that this background has a 100 in transparency. I'm going to make that even more transparent. I'm going to say 50. Yeah, there we go. What we're seeing is a background drawn once over the canvas. Now, what happens if this background is in the draw function? Let's see what happens. I don't know if you could see that. I'm going to give it a slower frame rate of maybe 10. And so if you can see, it is gradually adding and adding. So the different setup function only runs once at the beginning of the sketch, whereas draw function would keep on running. So it's still drawing the background up till now until I tell it to stop. If I make the frame rate even slower, we see it drawing the background, the low transparency background over and over and over itself, and it's just keeps stacking. And so that's what the draw function does.